As an American-born black man, to me, British rap always sounded like they were trying to replicate what we were doing over here, but with some sort of weird accent. Even in some of the best rappers across the pond, I couldn't get past the vocal inflections and the accent that they had. We also couldn't stop scoring on them, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, the jokes were objectively hilarious, and Big Shaq's fire in the booth freestyle didn't help either. However, Jim Legacy and the new British underground rappers aren't just breaking that mold, they're making their own. They're creating their own sound, and they don't give a damn what Americans have to say about it.
Made in Britain. Put my phone on DND, DND. She want me, I can't put my heart on sleeve. Who them boys? Just some backpacking niggas making noise. See them too, man. I had to put my phone on DND, DND. She want me, I can't put my heart on sleeve. Who them boys? Just some backpacking niggas making noise. Yeah.
Black British music is sonically something I'm not quite sure I've heard before. Some songs make you get up and dance. On others, the lyrics make you sit and reflect on your own personal experiences. Sometimes you get both on the same song. Songs like Stick, Father, and DBAB sound more like traditional rap songs with the booming bass and catchy hooks. New David Bowie and '06 Wayne Rooney sound like the type of rock or alternative inspired songs I would have heard from a Nirvana disciple or a fan of Jeff Hardy. On songs like Big Time Ford, 3X, and Brief, you can hear more of a Caribbean influence in the beat selection. Legacy toys with a wide variety of sounds on this project, but not one of them feels out of place. Every sound is intentional, and you can hear the various aspects of his musical history as a fan that have inspired and made him who he is as an artist. You understand this isn't just a random mashing together of sounds, but the music that makes up Legacy as a person. At 15 tracks and only about 35 minutes, this project is by no means long. There's some tracks leave you wanting more, but it's extremely insightful into an artist who should be bursting into the American scene soon. Since writing this, actually, he announced his first American shows. So, regardless of whether or not y'all want to credit me, I'm gonna say I called it. Without further ado, this is Block British Music. Roll the tape.
And a lot of shit happened. You know, it weren't just her death. It weren't just me like dealing with the grief. It was like my mum had like 2 strokes. My brother had psychosis. Like fucking Candy Ring got taken down. It was bad shit, you know. Fucking.
Context is a perfect opener to this album. This isn't really a song, but Legacy talking about how life has been for him for the past couple years. He recalls how he suffered with grief and loss, both personally and professionally, and how that led him to finding ways to distract himself instead of feeling what he felt and working through it. You can feel the growing pains the 25-year-old is navigating at a crucial juncture in trying to figure out life. As he says at the end of the track, when you get out of mud, there's always gonna be mud, bro.
Ever since the rain came, ever since the rains came crashing down on the water.
Now, Stick sounds like an old school church testimony. The theme of rain runs all throughout the song, and if you've ever done literary analysis, you know that rain typically symbolizes a new beginning. It's a chance for the old to be washed away and something new to be built in the remnants of what was. On the chorus, producer Joe Stanley sings, "Ever since the rains came crashing down on the water, 'cause my boat can't take on more water. I'm gonna sink." Legacy answers the chorus at the end of each verse by saying something about rain. On the first verse, he says, "I had to dance in the rain." To end the second verse, he says, "Rain came, I had to leave her." On the end of the last verse, he repeats what he said to close out the opener, "I had to dance in the rain." This song perfectly opens and sets a theme for the album. Jim has reached a point in his life where he's going through a metamorphosis. He's gone through the metaphorical rain in his life, and something new is now coming out on the other side of the storm.
Put my phone on DND, DND. She want me, I can't put my heart on sleeve. Who them boys? Just some backpacking niggas making noise. See them too, man. I had to put my phone on DND.
On New David Bowie, Jim tells you exactly who he is. He samples "Wash" by John Bellion, a song about Bellion allowing himself to be engulfed by love and his lover.
Treat your body like a river and let it wash over me. See you coming at me like a wave and let it wash over me. Touch me 12 ways, stars on the
extremely subtle way, the water motif carries over from the last track. By repeating that his phone is on D&D, Legxacy asserts that he doesn't want any distractions and is fully focused on his work, whatever that may be.
The sun comes up in the morning, I'm pouring up rum. Yeah, another night where the party ain't done and I feel numb. Girls in the
Sun samples J Hus's hit song "Did You See" and goes into similar themes. Legxacy and fellow British star Femigura talk about how their lives have changed in comparison to their upbringings in the ends. This transitions into 06 Wayne Rooney.
how'd I get here? Hey, 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 how'd I get here? Hey, hey, hey,
On this track, Legxacy interpolates one of my favorite Outkast tracks into the hook, "Hey Ya," to give the track a similar feel and message that Andre 3000 conveys. The famous line, "Y'all don't want to hear me, y'all just want to dance." There's a clear cognitive dissonance between the sound of the track and the content of the lyrics. Legxacy says, "They play our war cries in their clubs. It's getting all over the floor. Feel like I'm under the floor." On an instrumental that sounds like a rock banger, Legxacy speaks on how the war cries to the different local gangs' music is often lost in white clubs, an audience that can't understand the significance of the words that they're partying to. The real people who make the music and live out the lives put on wax are reduced to nothing more than a playlist played while tuning out real life for a couple hours. In the hook, Legxacy repeats, "How'd I get here?" This can both be in reference to Jim feeling out of place in a scene that can't relate to him, and also be in reference to his larger place in Lewisham and Britain as a whole as a black man. The cover of the album takes inspiration from British author Geoffrey Bukaye's 2019 book, Blacklisted, Black British Culture Explored. In his work, Bukaye dives into the history of Black British culture by exploring the different terms and, as he puts it, insults, insights, and everything in between used to describe it. In that sense, the song itself serves as a questioning of Legxacy's place in Britain as a black man who makes music that the main consumers of it, that being white people, won't and can't really relate to.
I've always been scared of being myself, of letting my heart speak. Before I speak, I will rise.
Issues of Trust is the most vulnerable song on this album. Jim talks briefly about how he has a fear of being open and honest about who he is. He talks about how he's been troubled by issues with his lack of relationship with his dad, and how the passing of his sister led to him being stuck, living in cycles of running from the things he's been dealing with. By making a song like this, Legxacy directly confronts his own fear, and this song transitions into the lead single, and most likely the biggest hit from this album, "Father."
I love my father. I love my father.
"Father" samples George Smallwood and Marshmello Band's 1980 song, "I Love My Father." That song talks about a man recalling the story of his father leaving his family for a year due to issues between the father and mother and his sporadic visits. In between recalling the visits, he croons, singing about how much he adores his father and how his father could have given him more in their relationship than what he was able to with everything else going on.
I love my father and everything that the man stood for.
Legxacy's song touches on how he and the girl he's been talking to both connect over not having a father in their lives, and how that brought about a sense of independence in them both. This sense of independence both brings them together, but also causes frictions between the two. And while I'm on the subject, I love the sample on this song. It's an amazing sample, and I have to talk about Jim as a producer. I don't know where he finds these samples. I don't know where he's really a student of music. Like, you have to be a student of music to know all these songs and to also be able to use them as samples like this. But this is a beautiful sample for a song that's such a moving and heavy topic for so many people, and he uses it beautifully. And I gotta show love for that sample, man. It's a great song.
Yeah, wanna be a bitch. Wanna be a bitch, then that's okay. Go make money on my own way. I don't wanna know.
The next next track, DBAB interpolates a verse from Kojo Fun's song Warning. The verse is essential, as it talks about how if you're involved in the street life in his ends and go to the police, you won't make it back home. In this song, Legxacy somewhat touches on how he decided not to take the street path and chose to find another way to make it big.
She got her advice, body colors, bags of pride, and I still got follow, got her advice. I know, yeah. Girl wanna move forward, yeah. She wanna be big time forward.
This transitions into Big Time Forward, a song about wanting a girl who doesn't want Jim back. She has a heart of ice, but body galore, and regardless of the way she treats him, he still goes loco for her.
Send me your SOS if you're in distress. We can find a way to bring her back to life.
SOS is also another song where Jim is talking to an ex that he believes is unhappy in her relationship, and he wants her back. He also samples Missing You by Case. This is one for the unethical yearners, and I looked to see if somebody else said that before I did. I couldn't find anybody, so I'm gonna go ahead, copyright, trademark that unethical yearners. That's my term. I'm gonna say I invented that one.
I go from poverty to pop star in the West End, and I'm pulling like I'm Oscar. Damn, used to panic every time I saw a cop car. All this pain, I swear, tell me monster.
I Just Banged the Snuffs in Canada Water is an anthem and a celebration of Legxacy overcoming all the obstacles of his childhood and becoming the star he always knew he was. The track exudes confidence, starting with the narrator saying, "It doesn't get blacker than this." The next song, Dexter's Phone Call, is a departure from this braggadocio.
Life's not been easy. I try to take it on my shoulders. It feels like the boulder's coming at me.
Dexter's Phone Call is mostly led by singer Dexter and the News Agent, with Legxacy joining her on the chorus. The song talks about how different events life has hurled at them as they've grown up, have taken their toll and damaged their outlook on life. She says, "I'm stuck in a loop, been away for some time. I could hide in the corner, pretend that I'm fine." This song really talks about how depression can grab onto you and keep you stuck in cycles that make it difficult to deal with the root issues in one's life because you want to keep up the appearance of things being fine. This leads directly into the next track, 3 Times, a collab with one of the biggest rappers to ever come out of the UK, Dave.
Them niggas try send for me, envy and jealousy. Everything I wish to put my enemies. Read the blocks I came up from, and I still made it. Got money, money, money on lock. Say it 3 times for my niggas locked up.
On 3 Times, Legxacy samples an instrumental jam Pie by Wiley and interpolates a portion of Dave's breakout hit, Wanna Know. Dave's original track is about how now that he's beginning to gain traction with his music and become famous in his home country, people want to know who he is and what he has going on. In a similar vein, in the first 2 verses, Legxacy talks about how there are people who are after him because of the success that he now has. He also talks about how even when he was going through the most difficult period of his life, his real family never left him. Dave then lays down a verse that talks about a similar subject matter, but I do want to talk about one of my favorite moments on the album. Dave has a line where he said, "Told Jim you already did your sister proud." I can only imagine what it meant to Jim to hear someone whom I can only assume he looks up to tell him that. In every interview I've seen and throughout all the music Jim has put out, he's always made it clear how much he loves his sister and what she means to him. And as an older brother myself, I can understand wanting nothing more than making your younger siblings proud. And for me as a fan, all that did was make me root for his success more.
Wake up, praying to God doesn't lead me astray. I'm just trying to change my ways. You niggas was losing your faith. Now take a look at the race.
Tiger Driver 91. And now that we're here, I have to shout out Mitsuharu Misawa for the name of that song. And I have to play a clip of the move. But the song is a song that's a celebration. Despite all the hardships, the things he's done, people around him losing faith in him and themselves, Jim never gave up. He decided to grow and continue to work and persevere And to bring it all back to the rain motif to start this album, he says, "Now take a look at the rays. The storm is over. The rain has stopped falling, and the sun is shining through once again."
There's a hello and there's goodbye. If you put it down low, then we said goodbye.
Brief is another beautiful song to close out the album. The song comes off as a letter to his sister. He talks about the grief he's been dealing with and how life has been going for him. He wishes that he could have another conversation with her so he could see how she's doing too. I can't write any words that'll do the song justice. This is one you have to listen to for yourself and feel the emotion that Jim puts into it. I've been a huge fan of Jim Legxacy since I discovered his music, and he's quickly shot up my favorite artist list. Actually, according to Apple Music Replay for this year, he's been my most listened to artist every month since March of this year. I was anticipating a new full album from him for the entire time, and this blew all my expectations out the water. This album was a perfect blend of experimentation while still maintaining a core sound. Legxacy also blends songs with deep meaning, with having songs that you can also dance or party to. The album overall is a celebration of the journey that he's gone on as a human in the past couple of years, and that, to me, is what the core of hip hop is. Taking our human experiences and observations and talking about them and how they've impacted us. If you find yourself in the camp that believes that young rappers all sound the same or no one's experimenting, one, get out of your own musical bubble and explore. There are tons of young artists exploring tons of different sounds and subject matters all across the world. But two, check out this project. I promise you won't be disappointed. Black British music is my favorite musical body of work to come out this year. This album explores grief, generational trauma, and how to move forward in the face of all of it. It blends sounds from across the African diaspora, from the Caribbean to the States to the UK. It explores the highs and lows of life and fame. It's real. In the times we're living in, that's the highest compliment that I feel that I can give any artist.